Hello everyone and welcome back to Superboy Beyond. And after a very slight tease last week, although it wasn't meant to be, with Fear Factory, with the Legion episode, we are now officially into Spooktober. I know I said last year I would try to think of a better name, and I think I said it the year before that as well. But I've decided just to stop fighting it. Spooktober's been what we've called it for the past 2 or 3 years. We might as well just stick with it at this point, eh? Anyway, we are going to watch an episode of Justice League today. This is part 1 of a 2-part episode called Only a Dream. Basically, I looked up a list of the scariest Justice League episodes, and this was number 10. I didn't want to pick... There was too many. There was too many to watch all of them in October anyway, but I also wanted to leave some stuff for next year. So we're going to start with Only a Dream, which is their take on a Nightmare on Elm Street type plotline, and should be fun. I've not seen this one, but Chris tells me it's a good one. Apparently the villain in it is from the comics as well, although I'm not overly familiar with him, I'll be honest. I'm not even sure I've read anything that he's been in. But yeah, we're going to get into this, and next week you'll see part 2. And yeah, we'll just keep going with Spooktober. And as there was last year, there will be a bonus extra episode in October. It's something that people have been waiting for a while, and I'm sorry to keep people waiting, but that's as much as I'm going to tease right now. If this is your first time watching one of our commentaries, this is not like a typical YouTube reaction video. You're not going to hear any of the audio or see clips from the episode or anything. There'll be a very heavily filtered version right up there in the middle. But that's purely so you can keep in time with us. You will need to get your own copy of the episode to watch alongside us. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult to know what's going on, frankly. So yeah, thank you all for joining us for this. I'll count you in with a 3, 2, 1 play. As long as you hit play when we do, we'll be off and running. So count you in. 3, 2, 1, play.
And there's good old Bugs Bunny.
Ah, yes. And you can tell that this is from vaguely the same era that Legion was produced, because it is the exact same Bugs Bunny intro. And it's also interesting to see when they made the switch to 16:9 as well. I always think of the DC animated universe for some reason as being in 4:3 the entire way through, but that's just not the case. It's looking good in HD, though, I'll say that.
And of course, the voice of John D here, the guy in the prison garb, is one William Atherton, who most genre fans will remember him as being the man with no dick from Ghostbusters.
Indeed.
He's made a career out of playing bad guys.
He's a good actor. He always does a good job whenever I see him in something. It's almost a shame I can't remember the last time I saw him in anything. Or maybe I just don't recognise him anymore, because it's been quite a while since Ghostbusters, to be fair. I'm not sure I would recognise him immediately.
I think he actually appeared in the most recent Ghostbusters Frozen Empire movie, playing the same character again.
I will have to check that at some point. I saw the... was it 2016? I saw that one. Didn't think much of it, to be honest. I just didn't find it very funny. And then I've never seen Afterlife or Frozen Empire. I've heard they're better. So at some point I will watch them, but I don't know. I always liked the first 2 movies, but I was never one of those fans of Ghostbusters that particularly wanted another film, really.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, Ghostbusters 2 was already worse than Ghostbusters 1. Like, there was nowhere it could have gone from there, really, but down. especially after all that time. I mean, expectations being what they would have been, yeah, just wouldn't have worked.
I have to say, I was never really a fan of this CGI-esque intro for Justice League.
I wasn't at the time. I've warmed up to it a little bit in recent years. I like that it's so stylized that it hasn't aged super poorly. It looks almost like it's animated action figures from the TV series rather than, 3D representations.
Yep.
It could look a lot worse. The fact that it's so stylized has helped it.
And of course, these 2 episodes are written by Stan Berkowitz, who pretty much got his DC start with Superboy.
Was Superboy his first thing with DC?
Well, first
I
DC,
assumed...
it's his first DC stuff.
Like on TV, or I assumed that he'd been writing for comics before the show.
No, he was not a comic book writer before that. Though he has written for some comics over the years.
He is one of my he's one of my more, one of the writers that I like most from Superboy, I must admit. Whenever it's an episode written by Stan Berkowitz, even if it's not the best episode, I'm usually entertained by it at the least,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm always glad when I see his name pop up.
So what's going on here is John D, being a prisoner, is being subjected to medical experimentation, high-tech medical experimentation, which is supposed to be unlocking his brain, and he's supposed to be getting out of prison soon. Pay attention, folks, to the voice of his girlfriend here.
Vaguely familiar, but I couldn't tell you where from.
It's Fairuza Balk.
To be fair, I think I've only seen her in 2 films, Return to Oz and The Water Boy. I've heard that
I fell in love with her when I first saw her in The Craft.
Yeah, The Craft is the one that people keep telling me to watch, and I've just never got round to it. I will at some point, because one person who told me to watch it said it's literally their favorite movie of all time. So it's got to be pretty good, because let's face it, slightly forgettable films usually aren't someone's favorite.
Yeah. And so now
I've got to say, so far, I like the lighting choices in this, like the way that, everything is shaded. This must have been quite an expensive episode just from a, just a coloring standpoint.
So we've got a riot going on in the prison, and John is not actually involved in this. He just wants to do his time and go home. But his girlfriend, of course, just told him that she has started seeing somebody else and she doesn't want him coming back home to her. All he's thinking of doing is getting back into the machine.
See, now it is a shame that he was sort of pushed to the moment of desperation there, because whenever there's a character who just wants to do his time and get out and just make a new start or whatever, I always feel bad for them when, events basically conspire against them. And it's just like everything goes towards making that not happen. I do like the Flash in this show. It's still weird to me, though, that it's Michael Rosenbaum. I can't hear that voice as anything but Lex. And Lex would not say half the things that the Flash says in this show. must have been weird for him in the episode where the Flash and Lex switched bodies.
It was according to what he said, it's mostly weird because Clancy Brown kept calling him every 5 minutes saying, how would I do this line? How would I do this line? He was driving him nuts.
That is the best way to do it, though. If you're going to do an episode, even slightly in that genre, it's the best thing to do. I know when they did the episode of Stargate SG-1 when O'Neill turns into a kid, they had Richard Dean Anderson on set the entire time, and so the kid could constantly like use him for reference, basically.
Yeah.
Best way to do it. Because that kid did a great job as the young O'Neill.
So we have returns of Volcana from Superman the Animated Series. Firefly from Batman.
I do like Firefly.
And they actually got Perry Gilpin to come back as Volcana here.
Yeah, I thought I recognized her voice, but I hadn't placed it just yet. But yeah, obviously, yeah, from Frasier.
And technically Wings, because she did make an appearance as somebody on Wings. So that makes from Wings, that's 5 cast members who've been on the DC animated.
Cool. What's that one actor's name who's in Rings? He's quite tall. I don't know how to describe him. He's got sort of quite big eyes, but he was in iZombie as a character. He was in the TV version of The Shining when it was that miniseries.
Steven Weber.
Yeah, Steven Weber. Like, I know he was in Wings, and I'm a big fan whenever he shows up in things, even if I did forget his name for a moment.
He made an appearance in an episode of Batman the Animated Series later on, the later episodes, when they changed the art style. It was a Two-Face episode featuring a character called the Judge, and he was the voice of the corrupt district attorney.
A good role for him. He does play sort of slightly slimy characters very well. He's always a good villain.
I love this. Stewart creates a force field over them with no air in it, or very little.
Yeah. Yeah, try making fire when there's no oxygen.
Try breathing when there's no oxygen.
Yeah. It just reminds me of that lesson. I don't know if they taught it in the US, but there was, I forget what the exact specifics was, but it was like fire needs 3 things or something. And it's like, if you remove any one of these 3 things, it will go out. And one of them is oxygen. You remove the air, fire dies. It's just how it works. I suppose unless it's like a chemical fire or something. I imagine they work on slightly different rules.
And now we see something odd is going on. Everybody's falling asleep.
Yeah, looks like the Elm Street side of this story is about to begin. That was a fun prison break sequence, though. It was well animated, well staged. And I even felt a little bit sorry for the villain because, as you say, he didn't have long left on his sentence. He could have just waited it out. So that's why. That's why she doesn't want him coming back.
Yeah, because she's got a new man. Which I get it. A woman gets involved with a guy she thinks is a good guy, and then he turns out to be a criminal. He goes to prison. Not every woman is going to want to wait for him.
Of course not, no.
But
maybe would have told him slightly sooner, though.
yeah, the way she went about it just was awful.
But no, I can't really blame her, to be honest.
I don't blame her, but I still think that what she did was just awful. And the way Fairuza Balk plays this woman, she plays her so well, very vulnerable, but also very feisty and very strong.
Almost makes me think she would have been a pretty good Lois Lane voice as well. Would have had to give it a slightly more tough edge to make it, the daughter of an army sergeant or whatever, or army general. But she's most of the way there.
And now he finally turns into Dr. Destiny.
I love that they do give him the claws. I mean, if you're going to do a Freddy Krueger type thing, I guess you've got to give him the claws. I was thinking it was probably all a dream when she couldn't wake him up.
And of course, we've got the return of Luminous here from the Superman animated series. And I actually think they did get Robert Hayes to come back for this.
That's good. I do think Luminous's costume, he looks more like a superhero than a villain to me. I don't know why. It's just a feeling, but... Huh. So yeah, this guy can clearly affect dreams from quite a distance even. So yeah, Hulk Girl has got to just be asleep or something, surely.
No, that was Luminous.
Oh, that was Luminous.
Creating solid light holograms.
Oh, fair enough. See, you can tell I'm not really familiar with Luminous because I don't know his powers, to be honest.
He's basically Dr. Light.
No, I don't know who the snake guy is either.
That's Copperhead. He's a classic DC character. He was mostly in the comics a foe of Hawkman, but he's also been member of the Secret Society of Supervillains. He made an appearance.
That's why I'm not familiar, because I'm not really familiar with much about Hawkman, to be honest.
Yeah. He's made an appearance in the Justice League animated series, I believe in season 1. And he forget the episode. Oh, he was in the Injustice Gang episodes.
It is always fun to see Solomon Grundy, though.
Yes. Do you know who's doing the voice of Grundy?
No idea.
Mark Hamill.
I always just assumed he only ever voiced Joker.
Nope.
And Wolverine in the second X-Men movie game.
Yeah.
Which is supposed to be very underrated. I've been meaning to play that, but it's not exactly easy these days. Yeah, with the guy's costume, I do think he would make a pretty cool superhero design.
Mm.
Even with most of the black, I mean, it never hurt Batman, so he kind of just looks like a character from Tron, though. To be fair, that's clever. Yeah, that was a good use of X-ray vision. I like that.
I don't know if it was X-ray vision so much as infrared vision that he was using at that point.
I mean, you could see the skeleton inside him, so it's the same power. I just use X-ray vision for all of his, even telescopic vision. It's all part of his enhanced sight, I suppose.
Hawk Girl is cold as ice.
See, now seeing that scene, part of me wonders if that was part of the inspiration for a certain moment in the recent Superman movie with Hawk Girl, where she drops the president of whatever the country's name
Bravia,
was.
yeah.
Bravia, yeah.
I'm sure it probably was an inspiration for it.
I'm sure he saw it, but whether he consciously chose to reference it, I don't know. But
yeah,
it reminded me of that. Blimey, she's still asleep.
Yeah. And they can't seem to wake her up.
See, I'm trying to remember if in the Nightmare on Elm Street films, whether keeping people asleep was part of his moveset. I always just thought he just killed people when they fell asleep.
Yeah.
But maybe in one of the sequels. I've only seen the first two Elm Street films, to be honest. So whether that becomes something he can do later on, I don't know. But it's an interesting part of the power set for sure.
Yeah. The thing about Dr. Destiny is he's known for being able to warp reality, but only through dreams. Sometimes he can make the dreams become reality, but not in the sense of, actually changing reality, if it makes any sense.
Just pulling things from the dream world, I suppose.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That's kind of in Elm Street as well. That's how they defeat Freddy at the end, is by pulling him into the real world. It doesn't help because he just keeps coming back in all the sequels, but technically it's how they won the end of the first film. Pretty much, I'm guessing the reason he wants the Justice League in the dreams is just purely because if you become a supervillain, it's just the first thing you do. Attack the superheroes. Plus, he probably just doesn't like the fact that they're trying to save her.
No, it has nothing to do with that. It all has to do with that first dream that he had when we opened the episode.
I forget what was even in that dream, to be honest.
He was basically destroying the Justice League. And he was just a regular guy.
I tell you what, though, that was a pretty somber way to end that episode. Like, just silence and just... That was kind of creepy. I like that. Yeah. He left it on a really uneasy tone. Yeah, that was a good episode.
Yeah, so very, very, very good episode. The first part is good. The second part is amazing.
Okay. Well, I don't want to waste any more time then. We'll score both of these episodes together at the end, since it is just one story. So yeah, we'll give a score next week. We'll see you then. Goodbye.